Good God, is that all it was in the end? Can you see it? Before I start, I want to say that there's no AI used in the narration or commentary of this video. No stupid American robot voice. That's AI, artificial intelligence. In fact, I think you'd be hard-pressed to find intelligence of any kind here. And this isn't a TikTok type video, so if you expect a solution in 20 seconds, you can sod off. That being said, shall we get on? This is a Silverline heatgun, hot air gun. See, there's a model number on there, I think 2000 watts. I've actually got two of these. Well, no, really, I've got three. I've got one that works and two that don't. This is my original one. It worked for about 3 to 5 years or so before I started giving a terminal fault. I'll show you what the fault is. Okay, it's plugged in. Switch on. Position 1. It was better than that before. Position 2. And position 3 high. Nothing at all. You see the switches. Well, this was working on position 1 and 2, but not on 3. So you've got high, medium and low and off. 4 position slide switch. As Dean Doherty, the power tool repair guy, is fond of saying, she's done some work. I've been looking all over the internet for these last few months. It's a bit of a saga, this one. It's been here since Christmas and it's now May 2026. But I couldn't find anything of any relevance at all. YouTube, all over the internet. So yeah, working blind mostly. This tool has tried to die 3 times, but it won't let it. It's because I'm an awkward and stubborn twat. The time I've spent on this, Jesus. If I converted that time to hours, and what the hell are you on about? Time is hours. What I'm trying to say is I must have spent about 40 odd hours on this, and if I was to pay myself £10 to £15 an hour, I could have bought 20 new ones. It's no wonder people don't repair tools, it's just not worth it. You could buy one of these for about 25 quid. Now these haven't been used as a DIY tool. They've been in an industrial setting, working 2 hours a day, 5 days a week for about 5 years. So it's a lot more than your average DIY person would use it for. Almost totally worn out in bits, I think. In the past I've had 2 problems with this. To make a long story even longer, the cable went in their internal brake. I think it was the neutral connector. It's easy enough fix, chop it off and re-terminate it inside. And the switch itself, I'll come to that when I show you Jordan's heatgun, which I've got here in bits. This is the exact same model, it's just in constituent parts at the moment. So get rid of this. This one has also had the same 2 initial problems, namely cable and the switch, which I replaced. There's this black bit in here, sitting underneath this. The new or newish switch. What happens here is that the contacts either melt or corrode or basically stop being contacts. So that's been replaced. And if you do replace it, these tracks and pads always lift off. copper track on there is probably only about a molecule thick. So there's a bit of rework, patching up and jumper wires and whatnot going on there. Yes, the amount of time I spent on this, it's obscene. It's not just trying to find the fault and repairing it, but trying to understand the bloody thing. May look fairly simple, and 4 constituent parts in it, but dear God, there's some very clever people that came up with this design, I'll tell you. Totally baffling peanut brains like mine. As I said previously, there's been very little information about this kind of thing on the internet, YouTube, apart from the odd person replacing an element kind of thing, but nothing of any detail. So, working blind. So the first thing I did was check the continuity of the wires from where they are here on the switch to the circuit board on the back, to the motor, and to the elements. I was getting continuity everywhere and resistances on the element coils. Next step was checking the PCB, printed circuit board, so adjusting the heat, I suppose. This is where it totally baffled me. A circuit board like this needs low voltage DC to work. This is where it's got me for a long time. So how do you get low voltage DC out of this setup? Okay, there's no transformer. I'm aware of the capacitive dropper. So is there a capacitive dropper on this? On this motor, this threw me. There's a big film capacitor on there. What colour is it? Brownish. I thought, that may be it. But this capacitor is only across the motor terminals, so that's only going to be for noise suppression, EMI interference, electric noise. So it's not that. There's also no full bridge rectifier on this. So where the hell is the DC coming from? I did an internet image search for this, for the circuits, just to see if it's possible, where would the DC come from in instances like this, and I only came across one or two. I did find one image where the DC possibly comes from a tap on the element windings, sort of a center tap, but, well, it's not a center tap, but it comes off this before going back to the neutral, and it feeds it back into the control board. I went through most of this circuit board, doing live and dead testing. Removed the triac, it was okay. I removed the small transistors here. It's always a semiconductor, isn't it? But not in this case, they were fine. And I replaced this capacitor, which was given odd values in circuits. It was fine. It was fine out of circuit, so but put a new one in there anyway. What I found was during live testing, this is a comparator. Get that in the middle. It's LM358, and that had no voltage going to it, no supply voltage. Going back again to where's the DC coming from. I won't go into any more detail on this PCB because it's not relevant to the fault that I eventually found. In the 5 months or so I've been playing with this, I must have had about 40 hours of footage of me pissing about with it. Oh, you can tell that's not AI, can't you? AI wouldn't say pissing about. The amount of drawings and sketches I've made of this bloody thing. This kind of thing, all in a notepad. If that's useful to you in any way, feel free to freeze it. This is how the elements work. That's one sketch of how the elements work. Again, trying to find out where DC comes from. That's the underside of the switch. The associated wiring. There's another one down there. That's the back of the motor control board. Again, you can freeze that if it's of any use to you. There's a bits of things that's on the PCB. There's an EL3061 track output optocoupler or photocoupler. Trying to trace out this, that and the other. Back of the LM358. More control board with triacs. Chasing dead ends and red herrings. What's that one? That's a bit sad about the transistors. Again, dead ends. And that one. How's your Welsh? Oh, that might be useful. Can't get that in one go. This is how the elements are arranged, the wires going to them. Thin element top, this thick element at the bottom, and where they go to or coming from. Can't get that all in one go, sorry. Heatgun, throwing session at snooker, watching snooker as well. So yeah, I came down to this underside of the switch. This is the high position with the H. Those 4 pins are all connected together. That's it, many pages. For most of my mucking about time, I was obsessed with this thick element section of wiring. This is only in the high position. The thick element of that, it didn't work. It worked in the other positions. Go back to the underside of the switch here. Okay, so this is the main out, going into the triac from the high switch position. Then I realised that there's another wire coming from the same position. I didn't realise, now I do. And that goes into the thinner element. Ah, that changes things. I also noticed this thin wire coming off the high position there had a diode in series, reverse biased. I was thinking, how in the hell does that work? So AC coming from the H position on the switch, reverse biased. What? How does that work? Okay, and then I went looking at the coils. Obviously that's a thick element, high power, and smaller element for low power. So how many coils do you see there? Not individual lines, of course, but how many separate coils? Did you say 2? Incorrect, I'm afraid. Try again. This small, thinner coil is made up of 2 circuits. Yes, start to make sense and be clear. Where am I? Where am I? So between that black one, that's coming from the position 1 or 2, low power. That's 1, 2, 3 windings, and it goes out into the red one, and then it's another coil. These, so there's 2 separate circuits on there. Wow. The thin element circuit on paper again. Black, which I've shown, 1 coil. Red, which I've shown. This comes from the high position, as shown previously. Then another circuit, and this blue, I assume, will be a neutral return. But also of interest, down the bottom here with me, see that? Red and black, both got series diodes in them. Ah, now would that make my DC? I think it probably would. I don't know whether I made myself clear, but I've given it a go. So what I seem to have is, between the black and the red here, 1 part of the small thin element, that looks like a DC coil, and this is AC. Follow the black and red, black and red all the way down to the bottom. Black and red diodes. Let me show that on the switchboard. 1 tiny diode on there, and the other one is by the terminal here. Sly and very, very clever. I did say at the beginning there was no AI used in narration and commentary, which is true, but I did make use of Google AI. It's something like a live chat where you input your problems, Silverline heatgun repair, and you get a list of problems, and it asks, have you checked this, that and the other, yes, yes, no, 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 blah, blah, blah. And it kept on mentioning a return path. I said, yeah, return path there. Well, I thought it was, but it isn't. I shall show you why soon. I'll show the high position on the switch again. Get too close, otherwise get blurry. It's just my eyes are blurry. So this is the high position. 1, 2, 3, 4 pins. Now, this is just going to the triac, but I missed this wire, which goes to the thin element. I think this is the DC coil, and that goes to this live to live through the diode. So I did another continuity test. This wire to the element, tried to trace it back to the switch. There was no continuity between this wire and that switch. So this wire going through a diode, there to there. I was getting the diode, continuity in the wire, no problem. But between this and this, you can see a track there, can't you? And looking at it very closely now, you can see a crack by that big joint on there. So there's no continuity between end of the diode and the live, and that's all it is. Unbelievable. Before I put a jumper wire across those 2 pins, I'll just show this as being not working. That's in a high position. I plugged it into my scariac, the Variac. She's plugged in there. Don't go bang, please. Nothing shorting, is it? Should be right. Switch on. Okay, nothing. Yeah. That's the jumper wire installed to bypass the broken track. Just a bit of 18 gauge wire on that. Let's do that again. I'm going to put something underneath this because if that works, it's going to get hot. Sure nothing's touching, nothing's shorting out. Plug it in again. Do all this in one shot with no cuts in it. Hello. If this works, that fan should turn. Good lad, good lad. It only took 5 months. And having been through all of this, the many months it took, I've still got no idea how this motor fan gets any power. I have no idea. That's still baffling, but it works. Leave it alone. All that remains for me to do now is put it back in the housings, and I know I've lost the screws for this, so it's another small problem. A quick and hopefully successful test now. It's good enough. Mostly back together. I've only got one screw holding it right there. I'll have to order some more. Technically I haven't lost them, they're here somewhere. Let's try this into the proper mains, not through the variac. All should be good. Oh, and warm. Spot on. Never used the cool ones, the low side anyway. Just the high side. If this video was useful for anyone, feel free to leave me a comment, a thumbs up, and a kebab. Thank you. Now, I'm finished yet, have I? I still have number 2 to fix. Oh joy. Now Jay, Jordan, can have it back when I've got some screws for it.